Mr. Horn, you had a wild weekend 3 decades ago and now find yourself in court to prove that you are not the biological father of Ms. Mannion's 29-year-old son, Andrew. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You will meet him for the very first time in a moment, but say today's DNA test will prove you are not his dad.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Mannion, you admit to this wild weekend of sex, but claim you have no doubt that Mr. Horn is your son's biological father.
That is correct.
So, Mr. Horn, now you claim you received a shocking phone call 5 years ago. Tell the court what happened.
I was at work. I got a phone call from a family member who never calls me at work. Asked me if I remembered a certain name, which was her name, and I was like, you know how I was back then. I really don't have a clue who you're talking about. And so she mentioned a couple other names, and that kind of rung a bell, and told me that she got a phone call from Mr. Haight saying that I might be his father. I got the phone number from my family member, and I called Mr. Haight and kind of told him, I was like, you know, you do know how your mom is. I mean, she's like a railroad track. She's been laid all across America.
Your Honor,
so
that is a lie.
No
That
way
is
okay. Let's try to be respectful, but I get your point. So it was your opinion that Ms. Mannion had been promiscuous?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you had the phone conversation and you basically told him
That there's no way I could be the father.
Ms. Mannion?
Yes, Your Honor.
He called your son and he basically said there's no possible way he could be his biological father.
He is the father because I was in another relationship and a paternity test did come out that the other guy was not the father. And there was only 2 people that I was with during that time.
So there were 2 people you were with and you said you had a DNA test on the other one, and so you feel like it has to be Mr. Horn from this point.
Yes.
Okay, I want to understand how all this started.
We were at a party on the weekend at an apartment complex of a buddy of mine's. She showed up. I didn't really have a clue who she was. We started chatting. She kept coming on to me.
That
I
is
found
a lie.
out she was a friend of mine's, girlfriend or dating. They were dating or whatever. He was in California. So she kept coming on to me. The more we drank, I drank quite a bit. Passed out. I woke up to the best alarm clock ever.
Oh, no. I do not do that kind of stuff.
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry. No, I did not. I do not put myself out like that, ever. He was drunk.
I was drunk and passed out. You took advantage of me.
No.
Oh, come on, woman.
He woke me up. Let's talk about that. Somebody taking me to the car and talking to me and reached over and kissed me. I'm like, excuse me, I have a boyfriend.
Okay, so
No.
we don't know who woke who up.
Right.
And because that's the evening you say you conceived your son.
I only slept with Mr. Horn twice.
Okay.
One that night and one the next day.
And then from there, you basically moved on. You guys did not start a relationship. You didn't keep in touch. It was none of that.
Not even close.
Did you ever hear she was pregnant?
I found out that she was pregnant after she had the child. I ran into the dude that she was dating at the time. He said he took a DNA test, but he never seen the results, so therefore he could not be the father. I call it like I said, she's a hoe.
Okay.
So there's no way I could be the dad.
Okay.
We got to come up with a new word. Just work with me here.
All right.
Ms. Mannion, once you realized you were pregnant, did you immediately think it was Mr. Horn's child?
No, I did not.
You thought it was someone else's?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the man that you had tested?
Well, I did not pay for it. His family did.
Did you bring copies of the DNA testing results?
No, I did
into
not.
court as proof?
I did not get the results. All I know is he told me.
I even called her family after this because the said dude that she thought was the father gave me the phone number because I was like, you know, if I got a kid, I want to be part of the kid's life. When I called, the grandmother answered the phone and I said who I was, and the grandmother's like, are you sure that you're the father?
So you knew at that point there was a question as to the paternity?
Yes, ma'am. I'll admit, I used to drink a lot and used to drug a lot. I was in no case that, you know, way to take care of a kid, and a kid that probably wasn't even mine anyway, so I just let it go.
Okay, so you thought someone else was the father. You had him take a DNA test, but you never saw the results. Did you ever see Mr. Horn after that, Miss Mannion?
No, I had no way to get a hold of him. All I know is my mother told me that he contacted them and even left his name, his phone number for when my child gets older to contact them.
Ms. Mannion, you are stating to the court that you do, in fact, agree with Mr. Horn's testimony that at some point he called a family member to inquire.
Yes, he did.
At that point, you say he even left his name and number.
That is correct.
And did you ever reach out to him after he left the name and number?
No, my mother lost the number.
They got his name and number and told you, but they never showed you.
Yeah, they never showed me.
Okay. I want to hear from your son. Your son, Andrew, is here. Ron, can you please grab Mr. Haight?
Yes, ma'am.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
We are here trying to get some answers for you. Who did your mother lead you to believe was your biological father from the beginning?
Well, I was with my grandparents for the first 5 years of my life.
Okay.
I considered them my mom and dad, and I kept calling her Christina.
Okay.
I ended up going to live with her at the age of 5.
Okay.
And she was married at the time.
Okay.
And so I assumed that he could have been the father at that time.
Okay. And at what point did you find out that he wasn't?
Around the time that that relationship ended.
How old were you then?
12.
12. So for the first 5 years of your life, you considered your grandmother and grandfather to be your mother and father, so you called them mom and dad.
Correct.
Then when you went to live with your mother, she was married, and so then you thought your stepdad was your dad.
Correct.
And then when they broke up, that's when you realized he was not your father either.
That is correct.
What did your mother tell you at that point?
I asked her who he was, and she gave me the name Kevin Horn the very first time.
The first time you asked?
The first time I asked.
And she had absolutely no doubt in her mind?
She had no doubt in her mind.
She didn't say it could be somebody else too?
No, she didn't.
Just said Kevin Horn?
Yep.
At that point, what did you do with that information?
I stored it in memory,
You stored it
so I can find a way to find him.
until you could find a way to find him. So when you gave him that information, Ms. Mannion, did you truly believe Mr. Horn was the father? Because you've admitted in court today that there possibly could be another man, but they told you the DNA test said it proved it wasn't true, but you didn't see it. So did you ever think to maybe fill your son in and say, well, there also was another guy?
Your Honor, the other guy did sign a birth certificate because he believed also that he was the father.
Let me see that, Ron.
Here you go, Your Honor.
So wait a minute.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, my son's last name is my maiden name.
Okay, so you gave your son your maiden last name.
Yes, I did.
The name of the father on the birth certificate, is it the same name of the man that had the test previously?
Yes, it is. He signed the birth certificate before the test was done.
So, Mr. Horn, you don't seem like you believe in this.
Is anybody actually in here believing this crap?
So, Mr. Haight, did your mom ever say to you, Mr. Horn is one possibility, but there potentially was someone else? We had a test, but I never saw the results. Did she tell you that part of the story?
Nope. When I went to get a birth certificate for an ID, it was the first time I found out that.
You saw your birth certificate for the first time, how old?
17, 18.
So when you went to get your ID was the first time you ever seen your birth certificate?
Correct.
And when you looked at the name of the father listed on there,
It
you
wasn't
didn't know
Kevin Horn.
It wasn't Kevin Horn. Did you ask your mother?
I did, and she said that there was a DNA test done and that he was not the father. It wasn't until recently that I actually started asking, where's this evidence?
Bingo. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. First, he thought your father was his father. Then he thought your husband was his father. Then you told him he was his father. Then in court,
Then
you
you
said
told him
there's
somebody else.
another guy. I'm listening to this story. And at 29 years of age, I think we need to take a little bit more seriously the fact that he still really doesn't know who his biological father is. And as you stand here today, and you so easily write that other guy off because he got tested, he wasn't the father, I can't write him off because you don't have any proof.
Yeah, you're right.
So then that leaves him in a position where he can't fully accept that truth. Even if it is true, he can't fully accept it because he can't see the paperwork.
I understand.
Okay. Mr. Haight, what are you hoping for today?
I'm hoping that I actually have found my father.
So since you were 12 years old, you've been carrying the name Kevin Horn in the back of your mind.
Correct.
And today, this very moment, is the first time you've ever laid eyes on him.
That is correct.
Other than, yeah.
Other than that picture on the internet when I found the information. My grandmother lost all the information that he gave her. So I did investigative work myself to find him.
Good for you.
And we've been talking for the last 5 years.
You have?
Yeah, we have.
Good.
The kid, I hate to keep calling him a kid because he's almost 30. He's had a rough childhood, you know, and the thing that makes me the maddest most about it is the fact that she knew how to find me. She could have found me.
I didn't
and
know how to find
if he
him.
is my son, I've lost 29 years of his life other than the last few years that we've been able to talk on the phone.
That you made poor choices that left you.
Yeah, one of them was having sex with you, but that's besides the point.
Please.
If that is my kid, you took 29 years of his life of not having a dad and being confused for so many years.
Why did you disappear? Why did you?
I've lived in Orlando, Florida for the last 29 years.
No.
I didn't go nowhere.
Yeah, you did. You got the information and you disappeared. Why didn't you call and contact them?
Because your mom even.
Why? No. Oh, come on.
All right. So
like that.
Ms. Mannion, I get why you're upset. I mean, this has all really gone over your head. I mean, literally. You are not grasping what really has happened. And what he's trying to say is, when there was a question regarding the paternity, he made the phone call. Your family then informed him that there was another possible father, and it probably was because at that time you even said you believed it was the other guy's child. So when he got the information that it wasn't his, He left it alone, but I said, I'll leave my number if anything else changes. He thought he never got a call because nothing else changed. But what happened is his number got lost. See, I see what happened.
I didn't even see the number.
We know you didn't see anything. You have no, really, Miss Mannion, you have not seen it.
Really?
I get it. You have not seen it. That's why
No.
I'm here to try to make you understand that even though you do want to believe, and look, Mr. Horn has been slightly harsh today in his language, but I do understand what he's saying. What's wrong, Miss Mannion?
Truth hurt.
You need to calm down, Miss Mannion, because I have the results for you. Mr. Haight,
Yes.
is there anything you'd like to say, sir? Because at the end of the day, this is about you. What would you like to say?
Well, if you are the father, I would like to continue growing our relationship.
Definitely.
And if not, I'll still like to we can go as a, like, older brother type thing, I guess.
That's
A much
sweet.
younger older brother.
Yeah.
I want to give you the results. Ron,
Yeah.
thank you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Horn v. Mannion, when it comes to 29-year-old Andrew Haight, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Horn, you are his father.
I told you. I told you.
We got this done, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I'm very happy.
I'm happy for you. You're a 29-year-old young man, and you know what? I see young men come in this courtroom that have never, ever known their father at all. That's one issue to deal with, and that is difficult. It's a complete different thing to every 5 to 7 years somebody tell you somebody new is your dad.
Yeah.
That is confusing and heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
I know, I can see it in your face. But I'm so thankful that you all had the courage to come here today. No matter what happened, what we got wrong, whose feelings got hurt. The point is we got to the truth. And now you can walk out of here and know that name you've been entertaining since you were 12 years old, Kevin Horn, that really is your biological
Yes,
father.
I can.
I'm so happy. I'm glad you've already been getting to know one another, but now you can get to know one another even on the next level with clarity and that absolute knowing.
And my
that
grandkids.
Amen to that. Ms. Poe, you've petitioned the court for a paternity test to prove to Mr. Tarver that he is your 19-month-old son, Joe Sean's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Tarver, you say your defense in court is simple. You are not Joe Sean's father, and you will prove that today.
Without a doubt, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Poe, so he's done nothing for this little boy, nothing at all?
No, Your Honor, he ain't did nothing. He ain't bought him a diaper, he ain't bought him a shoe, he ain't bought him a shirt. He don't do anything for my son.
Oh,
Are
you serious?
Yes, I'm dead serious. He don't do anything for him. He call him once in a while, that's it.
Once in
That's
a while.
not
I don't call him
father.
every day. I don't see him
That's
at
not
least
be-
3-4 times a
That's
week.
not being a father, Your
I don't call
Honor.
him every day?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Every time he asks, I let him see my son. If I have to go all the way to him, I take him to my son because I don't want my son without a father.
And you say he's denying him.
Absolutely. He's denying my son. He
Not just denying him time and attention, but denying him saying he's not his child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I get my son time and attention.
But you just deny that he's your child?
It was things going on. There's circumstances. I'm not just sitting here saying he's not my son. There's reasons, and she knows as well.
Please elaborate to the court. What are those reasons?
I mean, we're young and we wild, and we party a lot. And, there was stuff going on around them times involved in parties and sleepovers and just other people, period. And she have admitted in the past, but nowadays she'll say it's not true. So when you didn't leave me and go lay with somebody else?
No, I didn't.
The night that you told me you
You're
5 blocks away, it took you 3 hours to pull up.
Where Mr. Tarver
5 blocks away, it took you 3 hours to pull up with 3 dudes in the car?
Mr. Tarver was when I got there.
5 hours.
Another girl was
5 blocks away,
there.
it take 3 hours to pull up with 3 dudes in the car?
There was another girl there.
Okay.
He said he wanted to go to sleep.
was no
he
other
fell
girl there.
asleep.
And did you not
on
leave and
the
go back and
couch.
lay with him?
Yeah, absolutely I left, but I
Okay
did not go
then.
leave
Okay
and
then.
lay with another man.
All right. I need specific stories. What happened?
Well, Your Honor, when she first got pregnant, she came and told me she was 2 months pregnant. And time went on. About 2-3 months had passed, and she come back and tell me she's 2 months pregnant.
Lying, Your Honor.
You didn't come back. You didn't come back when you was supposed to be 4 months and you was pregnant.
Can I talk? Your Honor, I went to the doctor. I went to Planned Parenthood, the clinic, and I got a pee test done. And the lady asked me when was my last menstrual cycle. I gave her a date, and she went off the date based
So it's 2
on
months off?
when I told. Please,
2 months off?
please, let
Not
me
a couple
talk.
weeks, 2 months?
Can I talk? Can I talk? Your Honor, I got into some things, and I ended up having to go to the hospital, and they actually did an ultrasound on my baby and told me that I was only 6 weeks. I told Mr. Tarver.
But when you first came, you said you was 2 months.
Probably a week later.
But this was 2 months after you told me you was 2 months.
I never told you 2 months. I told you when I found out
The
the
first day
same
you came,
day.
you didn't say you was 2 months?
No, I did not.
Ms. Poe, I want to be clear.
Yes.
You do admit that initially you told him you were 2 months pregnant.
Based on what I told the doctor and what was wrote on the paper, yes, from Planned Parenthood.
Okay, so when you first got the urine test,
Yes.
you were given that you were approximately 8 weeks.
Right.
2 plus 2.
And then how long after that particular appointment did you have to go for the ultrasound?
It was probably like a month later.
At least 2.5 months.
It was a month later.
least two
So
and
a
half.
month later, you went for an ultrasound.
Yes.
And they told you you were only 6 weeks.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did
It don't add up.
Mr. Tarver go to any of the doctor's
No,
appointments
he
with
did
you?
Your Honor,
not. He didn't go.
There was
not
Your
one
Honor,
doctor's appointment
May
with
I speak
me.
now? May I speak?
You didn't let me talk?
All right, go
Okay,
ahead.
both of you, just one at a time.
Well, Your Honor,
I want to understand.
There was a
this.
situation in which she told me she had to go to the doctor. This is around when she first got pregnant. But I think it was before she came back with the 2 plus 2 situation.
He's lying, Your Honor. I was like 4 months pregnant when he claimed he went to the doctor with me.
2 plus 2, whatever she got.
All right,
But
go ahead.
She tell me she needs to go to the doctor, so I tell her I'll go with her. We go to the doctor, and we get to the doctor. The doctor say they closed and they moved. They've been gone for a minute. And she's telling me, even though they said they've been gone 3 months, she was in this doctor 2 weeks ago. How did that make sense?
So the doctor's office says she was there 2 weeks ago?
No, she said she was there 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
When we get to the doctor, there's a sign on the door saying they moved
They
to
was
another
at
address
lunch.
3 months ago.
They was at
3 months ago.
Boy, they was
3
at
months ago.
lunch.
Now they was at
So
lunch.
I
No,
was
we
like-
went to lunch.
so
They ain't go to
3
lunch.
months ago.
They ain't go to lunch.
You're saying the doctor's office was not closed.
No, I was
There was
there
no
the whole
doctor's office.
prenatal.
And you're
They got
saying
me
There
Mr.
is
hospital.
no
Tarver,
doctor's
there's a
office.
sign on
It was
the
in
door.
a building. It was in the building. It wasn't no doctor's office. It was a building, and it was a suite in the building. And they said a sign on the door that we're at another address and it was dated 3 months before this.
So when you read that,
then I'm like, this not. I'm telling her at the time, this isn't a doctor. That's when she argued me. I was in there 2 weeks ago. They're not closed. I was in there.
They gave me my whole prenatal care. How was the doctor leave, Joseph? Somebody
Come
referred
on, you
me
found
there.
an empty building.
Please, knock it off.
What do you think her motive was here?
She didn't believe I was
Look
gonna
at
go
me.
to the doctor appointment.
Okay.
And then when I told her, and it wasn't no doctor's appointment, she tried to make it seem as if there is one.
So Ms. Pohl,
Yes, ma'am.
was Mr. Tarver there the day you gave birth?
Yes, he was.
Did he sign the birth certificate?
No, he told me he
Because
did
you
not
didn't
want
want me
to
to,
sign.
'cause you didn't
no,
want me to.
he did not sign the birth certificate. He said he didn't want his name on nothing. Don't give my son his last name because he didn't want me to put him on child support. That's what he told me, and he left.
No, she told me she
after
wasn't
my
giving
son
him my
was
name
born.
because she don't like me. I named him.
Boy,
I named him.
so why would I give him your last name
That's
if
why
I let you
named
name him?
I
That
wrote
doesn't
the
make
whole
sense.
thing down. Why would I write down, give him
You
my
said
name and
do
my
not
brother name
give.
together
He
and
said,
not give him my last name?
You said do not give him my last name
I
because
wrote it
I
down
don't
and
want you to
left.
put me on child
She wanted me
support.
to leave because she was on the phone with her boyfriend. Nothing to say
What
now?
a mess.
It got quiet in here.
You said you wanted this child to have your last
I named him.
Lying.
I named
He's
him.
lying.
Mr. Tarver, why would you name the child and want him to have your last name if you didn't believe you
That
were
was
the
your child.
biological
That
father?
was
I'm not saying I don't want him to be mine. Why play this role if this is not what it is?
Did you have doubts when you were naming him? And
Of course.
you did.
All the time he used to tell me, I know that's my son. We young, we dumb.
We were just passing time.
Yeah,
we was
young
passing
and we
time.
dumb.
Hold on.
know
I was
that's
telling
my
her what
son.
she needed. It was cold. It was winter.
Boy,
Come down
please.
the street. I'm gonna get you
Boy,
down here.
please.
We gonna have a
Boy,
good time. We're gonna be warm together.
For a whole year,
It was
Your
a year.
Honor?
It was a
Yes.
year. We was never together.
Oh,
we was
come
just
on,
cool.
Joseph, we was never together.
You wouldn't leave.
Why you was telling me you left
You
me?
wouldn't leave.
I wouldn't leave.
You wouldn't
So why
leave.
you
All
talking?
right, Mr. Tarver,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to better understand your doubt. You've brought a witness. Please join me up here. Come sit at the witness stand. Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
State your name for the court.
Rosie Jones,
Ms. Jones, you are
his fiance.
Mr.
That's
Tarver's fiance.
Y'all some
Yeah.
clowns.
Let's be
Tell them.
respectful.
Please.
So, ma'am, what do you know about this situation?
To be honest, they say that it's multiple people was claiming her baby at the
Girl,
time.
you don't
that
even
she
know
conceived.
me.
Be quiet. I'm talking.
You don't even know
All right,
me.
let's
So
get
how you gonna
control.
say anything?
Let's
Girl, I
get
heard many
control.
things about you too.
Let's
From
get
him.
control.
They're saying there's multiple people claiming her baby, which he also
It
told me
is.
the same thing.
Multiple people
Yes, and I
are
never
saying
even
that
knew her.
her child is theirs.
Yes, 2 other people.
Two
Oh.
other people,
Yeah.
particularly.
Yes.
And I got evidence, Your Honor, that she was dying to get pregnant.
Boy,
Let me
look
see
at
this
all.
evidence, Jerome.
Was this not on your? Did
Yes,
somebody
that
not
was
tell
on
you?
my
Over to your
Facebook.
podium, Mr.
That was
Tarver.
on my Facebook.
This evidence states,
Her status stated she's pregnant. And her
aha,
comment-
finally, blank was dying to get pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor, that was my homegirl. She was playing on my status. She commented on my
It's a
status.
joke.
She was not the only person that commented on the status saying about me getting
and
pregnant.
not the only one that said she was dying to get pregnant.
Nobody wasn't dying to get pregnant by
Either,
you.
either,
I just
either.
happened to get pregnant by this.
But the point is, Mr. Tarver, just because even if she was dying to get pregnant,
You still laid down with me. You still slept with me every night, even though you didn't want me down there. You slept with me every night, more than one time a night.
well, he didn't deny that.
I mean,
Exactly.
So basically, you still could potentially be this child's father.
exactly. That's why we're here today.
Why do you believe he's denying this child?
I think he denying my child because of Rosie.
He didn't know if you was for sure. You didn't either.
I didn't know that
No,
was my.
you didn't.
No.
That was the only
You
person.
didn't.
You
No, you
don't even know
You
me,
didn't either.
girl.
You didn't
Were you
either.
sleeping with anyone else?
No,
Yes.
no, I was
Yes.
not. No, I was not.
didn't sleep with nobody?
No, I was not. The whole time we was together,
Miss
I was
Poe.
faithful to him.
Now,
he
Miss
was not
Poe.
faithful to me.
Mr. Tarver, do you have any other children?
Possibly.
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 The clown.
So there's another child
Yes, her
out
baby.
there.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who do you have a child with where you question the paternity?
Ms. Jones as well.
Ms. Jones,
Clowns.
Yes.
your fiance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let me finish with this case first, and then I will deal with that one. What are your intentions here? Are you going to step up and
I've
take
been
care of the
stepping up,
child?
Your
You
Honor.
haven't. You
I've
ain't
been
getting
stepping.
nothing.
She could come up here and play the role she
You don't-
want to play,
when you bought a diaper,
but she know.
when you bought a wipe, when you bought a shirt,
But
when you bought
when
a
he was
shoe.
born, when he was born, what he wears daily.
You didn't buy nothing for him when he was born.
All right. Ms. Poe, Mr. Tarver, the only way to end this shouting match, I think, is to have the results. Jerome,
Thank you. Thank you.
we're going to remain in this courtroom respectfully,
Yes.
and I'm going to question Mr. Tarver and Ms. Jones further to see if I need to also order a DNA test on their child. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Poe versus Tarver, pertaining to 1-year-old Joshawn Poe, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Tarver, you are Joshawn's father.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's what I wanted
Thank
to know.
you.
That's what I wanted
Thank
as well. It's not like I was
Thank
saying
you.
I don't want him. I just want to be sure because as you can see, she
You were
admitted
sure.
some infidelity.
You were sure.
All right.
Sometimes you were sure.
You know what? Now you all just yelling because you just like to hear yourself talk. Because you're not saying anything. It's your child. You know now. You said you already been stepping up. Step up even further.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right? We have resources for you. You guys want to take advantage of them? I hope you do. Now, moving on to Mr. Tarver and Ms. Jones. So the child's name is
Rory,
how old?
1 year.
1 year? Okay. So why do you have doubts specifically?
Me and Rosie, we was actually a relationship. We exchanged Facebook and Instagram passwords, and I was logged on to her Facebook, and she was talking to her ex. We talked, she told him, you gonna get me in trouble, but still pull up. And then a couple days later with her birthday, and I planned her a party, had her friends and everybody there, you know, and she didn't show up because she was spending time with him.
I never knew about the party, and me and him was not even together no more.
We was.
So, Ms. Jones, do you admit that during the time you say maybe you guys weren't together, that you slept with your ex?
No, I did not sleep with
You
anyone.
did.
I mean,
And the
she
day
was
that
with him
he
4
said that I
years,
was
and
talking to
she
him
got
on
pregnant a
Facebook.
month after we got together. And
But you were intimate with her, right?
Sure was.
Me as well, yeah. She was still with her ex. At the party,
No, I was not.
At the party she threw, a mutual friend came up to me and told me that she was his girlfriend still.
So, Mr. Tarver, I
And she was pregnant
need
in
more
July.
tangible doubt.
Well, I mean,
don't have any.
We black as Wesley Snipes. The baby look like Justin Bieber.
And how light is your mama? And how light is your sister?
A friend of mine, Cedric, I have a witness. We could call him. I have his number. Will tell you he called her coming out his house late at night. I can write it down for you.
Yes, I'd like to have it. Jerome, will you please get that information for me?
And his name is Mr. Parker.
You are so full of it, bro.
I just want the truth.
Mr. Parker.
Me too.
Mr. Parker.
Let's see if we can get Mr. Parker on the phone.
Hopefully.
Hello,
Hello.
Mr. Parker.
Guess who's calling?
This is Judge Lauren Lake from Paternity Court.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I am here in the case of Poe versus Tarver. You know Joseph Tarver, do you not?
Yes, Your Honor.
He says you saw his fiancee.
Oh,
Ms.
yeah,
Jones?
Rosie?
Yes. Now, before you get to this testimony, I have to ask you, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Well, I did see her coming out of his house. Well, one of my friends' house that stayed down the street from my granny. And you feel me? They was on the porch doing their little thing.
They were on the porch doing their little thing.
I saw them holding hands coming out the house and
But we got
everything.
the appointment and everything.
I didn't say nothing at first.
We still
but
hiding. Girl, please.
Hello?
Quiet. Yes,
Hello?
sir. Proceed. I'm listening.
yes, when I saw them coming out the house, at first I wasn't really tripping. I was like, okay. But then when I seen them doing all that other stuff, I'm like, wow. So then I called Joseph. He didn't really believe it, but had to do his own little homework. He a good guy. I didn't feel like he deserved that.
So do you believe Rory, the little girl, is his child?
It's up for grabs because everything was happening. Him and Rosie was messing around. I saw that. And apparently he know other stuff about other dudes, so it's in question.
All right. Thank you very much for your testimony today. I appreciate your time.
Okay.
All right. With that said, I am going to order a DNA test to be performed as it relates to baby Rory. Mr. Tarver, Ms. Jones, I want you to leave this courtroom. I want you to immediately submit to the DNA testing, and we will return with the results. Are we clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jerome, please escort them out. Court is in recess. Court is back in session. Ms. Jones, Mr. Tarver, you did in fact submit to DNA testing. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You all are engaged.
Yes, Your Honor.
So there's a lot at stake here.
Yes, Your Honor.
I think it's time for the results. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Tarver versus Jones, pertaining to 1-year-old Rory Tarver, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Tarver, you are Rory's father.
Thank you.
So you feel special?
And now we need to put differences behind us because we both got a child by him.
Absolutely.
So all that drama is unneeded.
Absolutely. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listing.